The viral accident that turned into a massive legal battle. Millions of people watched the video. In just a few seconds, it spread across social media, news websites, and group chats across the country. Everyone seemed to have an opinion. Some people immediately blamed the victim. Others were convinced they knew exactly who was responsible. The verdict, at least in the court of public opinion, appeared instant. But there was one problem. The viral clip showed only a fraction of what actually happened. Behind the headlines, the comments, and the endless online debates was a legal battle that would become far more complicated than anyone expected. Because when an accident goes viral, evidence, public perception, and the law don't always tell the same story. And sometimes, the truth is buried beneath millions of views. The internet has changed the way we experience accidents. 20 years ago, most incidents were witnessed only by the people who happened to be there. Investigators gathered evidence, interviewed witnesses, and pieced together what happened over days, weeks, or even months. Today, a single smartphone video can reach millions of people before police officers even complete their initial reports. And that's where the trouble often begins. Because viral videos create something incredibly powerful. A first impression. Within seconds of watching a clip, people instinctively decide who they believe is right and who they believe is wrong. The problem is that legal liability doesn't work that way. Courts don't determine responsibility based on a 15-second video clip. They determine responsibility based on evidence. And those are not always the same thing. Imagine a scenario where a pedestrian is struck by a vehicle. A bystander records the final moments before impact and uploads the footage online. The video explodes across social media. Millions of viewers watch it. Comments pour in. Some insist the driver was reckless. Others argue the pedestrian caused the accident. News outlets pick up the story. Influencers react to it. The public becomes convinced they know exactly what happened. But investigators quickly discover something important. The viral clip doesn't show what happened before recording started. It doesn't reveal the minutes leading up to the collision. It doesn't show road conditions, visibility issues, traffic patterns, or actions taken by either party before the camera began rolling. In other words, the most widely viewed evidence may also be incomplete. This creates a unique challenge in modern personal injury litigation. Attorneys must often fight not only legal battles, but public perception as well. And public perception can be incredibly difficult to overcome. Jurors are instructed to evaluate evidence objectively, but they're also human. In high-profile cases, many potential jurors may have already seen media coverage, online discussions, or viral footage before ever entering a courtroom. That's one reason judges sometimes take extraordinary measures when selecting juries in widely publicized cases. The goal is to ensure that decisions are based on admissible evidence rather than internet opinions. But viral content can influence more than jurors. It can influence witnesses. People who repeatedly watch footage online may begin remembering events differently. Psychologists have long studied how memory can be affected by repeated exposure to information. When millions of people discuss a particular narrative, separating first-hand recollections from public assumptions becomes increasingly difficult. And then there are the parties involved. For accident victims, viral attention can be overwhelming. Their injuries may become public discussion topics overnight. Personal information can spread across the internet. Strangers may criticize, defend, or speculate about events they know very little about. Some victims find themselves fighting two battles simultaneously: the legal case and the public narrative. Defendants often face similar challenges. Even before any formal determination of liability, businesses, drivers, property owners, or organizations may experience reputational damage. Customers leave, partnerships disappear, public trust erodes, all before a court has decided who was actually responsible. This pressure frequently affects settlement negotiations. When a case attracts widespread attention, the financial risks can increase dramatically. Insurance companies understand that public scrutiny can influence business interests, brand reputation, and future litigation. As a result, both sides may become even more strategic in how they approach the case. But perhaps the most important lesson is this: video evidence is powerful, yet it rarely tells the entire story. A camera captures a perspective, not necessarily the full context, not necessarily the complete sequence of events, and not necessarily the legal truth. That's exactly what happened in one of the most talked about accident cases in recent memory. What appeared obvious to millions of viewers became far less clear once investigators obtained additional footage, interviewed witnesses, analyzed the evidence, and uncovered details that never appeared in the viral clip. And as those details emerged, the case transformed from a social media sensation into a legal battle worth far more than anyone initially imagined. As the legal case moved forward, something fascinating happened. The story that millions of people thought they understood began to change. Investigators gathered additional evidence, witnesses were interviewed, expert analyses were conducted, surveillance footage from other angles was reviewed, pawned records, timelines, vehicle data, and accident reconstruction reports were examined. And suddenly, the viral clip that seemed to explain everything started looking very different. What viewers saw online was only a snapshot. What investigators discovered was an entire sequence of events. This is one of the most important realities in personal injury law. A lawsuit is not decided by the most viewed video, it's decided by the most complete evidence. In many viral accident cases, the footage that captures public attention often lacks critical context. A camera may miss what happened moments before an incident. It may fail to show environmental conditions, prior warnings, mechanical issues, visibility problems, or actions taken by the parties involved. That's why courts rarely rely on a single piece of evidence. Instead, they look at the total picture. Who had a duty of care? Who acted reasonably? Who failed to take appropriate precautions? And ultimately, whose actions contributed to the injury? Those questions require much more than a short clip shared online. As more facts emerged in this case, legal arguments became increasingly complex. Attorneys on both sides worked to shape the narrative. Experts challenged each other's conclusions. Insurance companies carefully evaluated their exposure. What started as a viral moment evolved into a high-stakes legal battle involving significant financial consequences. Because when serious injuries are involved, the damages can be substantial: medical expenses, lost income, future treatment costs, pain and suffering, permanent disability, loss of quality of life. These factors can turn a single accident into a claim worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. And that's why determining liability matters so much, not just for the parties involved, but for everyone watching. Cases like this serve as a reminder that public opinion and legal responsibility are not always the same thing. The internet rewards speed, the legal system rewards evidence. The internet encourages immediate conclusions, the legal system demands investigation. And while social media can provide valuable information, it often presents only part of the story. That's what made this legal battle so significant. It exposed the gap between what people thought happened and what the evidence ultimately revealed. And in that gap lies one of the most important lessons in modern personal injury law. The truth is rarely found in the first headline. It's found in the details uncovered afterward. Because when millions of people are watching, it's easy to assume the video tells the whole story. But in court, assumptions don't win cases. Evidence does. Now, we want to hear your perspective. Have you ever watched a viral accident video and immediately formed an opinion about who was at fault? And after hearing how these cases are investigated, do you think social media helps uncover the truth? Or does it sometimes make finding the truth harder? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Some of the most interesting discussions happen when different viewpoints collide. And if you enjoy real legal battles, personal injury cases, insurance disputes, and the hidden stories behind the headlines, subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week, we break down the cases that prove there's often much more to the story than what goes viral online.